subtitle.
Now, let me ask you a question about that middle section, because it's really engaging. And people who I've talked to said, well, I like that middle section, but it feels anthropomorphized, right? It feels, but then the first thing to say after that is, but wow, was it fun to read, right? And so, if an undergraduate actually wrote something of that nature, you think the faculty would sort of accept the subjective, the elegant, the sort of the cognitive abilities that seem to be lurking right below the surface? Should we encourage undergraduates to engage the world in this way, or teach them to be objective, hard, cold, analytical scientists first and then let them do this?
Sometimes yes and sometimes no, and do it together.
It's not an either or then.
Yeah, I'm, good fiction and science fiction is a very creative process. It can do a lot, and it can entertain people immensely. But so can the actual events and the activity. Right. And that's what I have here. Oh, I stretch occasionally, but you can see when I stretch, when I speak of the ants going into a frenzy of anger. Right. They go into a frenzy, and they have been alerted, and they'll grab and sting anything they can get their hand. So if I put in a word like anger, that's a slight anthropomorphizing, but it's allowable without changing.
Because it paints the picture accurately.
Accurately, yes. Scientists are allowed metaphors, although when you're reporting one scientist to a next, you well know, rooted in it yourself. Right. Metaphor, overuse of metaphor the use of metaphor in any scientific report is verboten. You don't do that. But you're allowed, even in a science paper in a high-level journal, you're allowed in the discussion or in the introduction a little metaphor, as why this is important to be known, and so on, and you can use an adjective to give a sense of urgency or excitement.
I just read a paper where they used it was a predator-prey modeling paper, and they talked about a battle between them. So the war metaphor that you use is alive and well. Maybe a little bit under the table, but it's alive and well, I think, in our descriptions of science.
Except that these ants are really conducting wars.
Right.
They're wars.
Right. Organized aggression.
One of the things I want to point out is that although ants are radically different from humans in fundamental ways, there's a lot of similarity. And how the organization, or what it achieves, and the constant warfare and group antagonism that occurs and the division of labor, there are a lot of similarities that are interesting to know about.
Well, one of the things I liked especially about that part, and I'm not going to talk much about the end because I don't want to give things away, but we'll get people to the middle of that I liked was the ants had this flavor of being anthropomorphized, but what was really fun, I think there was a wink maybe in there from you, is the humans were kind of myrmecophilized, right? And so it was this sort of reversal where it sounded like the humans had these abilities and perceptions of ants and vice versa, which was really lovely.
Thank you. Actually, that might happen. I didn't exactly intend it. When I went back into I guess in their actions, I might have drawn more parallels, but no, I recreated the South in that, and the key players today, which in terms of the environment, are developers, the growing, increasingly strong environmental movement, and then the radical cultist evangelicals. It's a three-way play that makes up the modern South. Racism has begun to fade dramatically, but that's another subject. Certainly. I felt that Harper Lee had done her job as a novelist, and now my job as a novelist was to come to the new crisis down there.
Well, thanks so much for being with me. I guess maybe the take-home message that I get is that good science and good literature, maybe both, require good storytelling.
They do.
Thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you.